Hi, Miss Amato's class. My name is Miss Jana, and I'm going to be talking to you guys over the next couple weeks about a gecko that came from the Chattahoochee Nature Center where I work. The Chattahoochee Nature Center is about 15 minutes away from your school, and because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we had to close just like Woodlawn did. So you guys are going to get an opportunity to meet the gecko and ask lots of questions and learn all about what it means to be a gecko. We do lots of different things at the Chattahoochee Nature Center. One thing we do is offer field trip programs. Some of you guys might have been to the Nature Center before, or you might get to go sometime before you move on to middle school. Another thing that we do is we take care of injured wildlife. So we are licensed for reptiles and birds of prey. So those are birds that are fearsome predators and eat meat. So part of what we do is try and take in sick animals and make them better and release them back out into the wild. In addition, we have a museum that you can come visit, and in the downstairs of the museum we have this amazing program called the Nature Exchange. And at the Nature Exchange, what you can do is go out and collect different natural objects from out in nature and just get curious and research about them. What is it? What does it do? All that sort of fun stuff. And you can come in and trade that object, tell us all about it, and earn points. You can then use those points to take home a different natural object and start your own collection at home. Hi everybody, my name is Jana and I work at the Chattahoochee Nature Center, and this is Getting to Know Gecko. Today we're going to talk about some classification basics. I know classification sounds like a long, complicated word, but we're going to break it down and talk about what it all means and think through some examples as well. So we have classification, and all classification means is sorting items into groups based off a set of rules that you have decided ahead of time. And this can be helpful for a lot of things, but let's go ahead and flip this around and look at our example. So for our example, we'll look at foods. So let's say our categories we have are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the rules that we have decided to sort on are what time that you eat. So for breakfast, you might eat between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. Lunch, maybe 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. And dinner, 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. And the rules, you can make them whatever you want, just as long as you decide them ahead of time. I know this might not be true for everybody's dietary options. So we can think about a sandwich first. For what meal, what time would you typically eat a sandwich? I don't know about you guys, but I would usually eat a sandwich for lunch. What about pizza? So we'll call pizza dinner because a lot of times you eat pizza in the evening when you get home from school. What about a salad? We'll call salad lunch. Spaghetti. Does anybody have spaghetti for breakfast? I think spaghetti is a dinner time thing. What about cereal? We're going to call cereal breakfast. And lastly, a granola bar. Granola bar is probably breakfast as well. So I know it can get kind of tricky because some of these things you might eat for multiple times of the day. And out there in science with animals, sometimes that is true too. There are lots of exceptions to the rule. But using broad categories can kind of help us start to organize the natural world into smaller groups that we can understand and therefore study better. And we're going to talk about the type of group that the gecko falls into in just a minute. When it comes to animals that you can see with your plain old eyeballs out in the world, there's two major groups we can start sorting them into. There are invertebrates and vertebrates. Invertebrates do not have a backbone. Vertebrates do have a backbone. So I want you guys to turn around Take your fingers and feel down the length of your back. Do you feel anything hard there? Anything that might be a bone? If you do feel that, then does that mean that humans have a backbone? If they do, then that would mean that they are vertebrates. So we are vertebrates. Some examples of things that don't have backbones are insects like an ant, an arachnid like a spider, an annelid like a worm, or a gastropod like a snail. So those are all things that actually have an exoskeleton, meaning they have a skeleton on the outside of their bodies to protect them. Vertebrates have a skeleton on the inside of our body to help protect our organs like our tummy and our heart, and also to give our body some structure so that we can get up and move around the world. Now, there are all sorts of animals that have a backbone, and they can broadly be grouped into mammals, fish, amphibians, birds, and reptiles. Now, it might seem kind of hard at first, but think about a dog and a snake. You can really tell right off the bat just by looking at them that they're very different. And some of those differences help you sort them into which group they're in. But what about a lizard and a snake? Those have a lot more in common than a dog and a snake. And we're gonna go meet our gecko right now, and we'll look at some of the things that make her a reptile. So when you want to classify an animal, the best thing you can do to start is just to observe them. So we're going to give you guys just a couple moments here to just really take in this animal and, try and notice things about her physically or maybe even about her behavior that can help you later on make a determination about what sort of animal she might be. About the gecko. I want you to post your observations in the comments below. So to kind of talk about reptiles, first we're going to start with mammals because it's something we're all familiar with. If you have a dog or a cat at home, or even as human beings, then you're familiar with mammals. So some classifications of mammals, you can start with their skin. Our skin is dry, and we have fur. We have live young, and then we're also warm-blooded. And when I say warm-blooded, I mean that our body temperature inside is usually about the same. It's about 98, 99 degrees. And it doesn't matter if you're in Alaska or Hawaii, your body temperature is usually going to stay somewhere within that range unless you're sick or you have hypothermia. Reptiles, on the other hand, have dry skin as well, but instead of fur, they have scales. So you may not have noticed on the gecko, but she does have very, very small scales that help protect her body. They have leathery eggs, sort of like an egg that you'd find at the grocery store, but it's not quite as hard, it's a little softer. And lastly, they're cold-blooded. So their body temperature inside depends on whatever the air temperature is around them, or surface temperature. So one behavior you'll see a lot with reptiles is called basking, where if they feel cold, they have to physically go move themselves out into the sun and use the warmth from the sun's rays, or even the warmth perhaps from a rock, and that rock has been warmed up by the sun, in order to raise their body temperatures so that they have more energy to keep themselves alive. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. If you want to learn more nature facts, be sure to check us out at the Nature Exchange at the Chattahoochee Nature Center on Facebook. We are now also offering virtual trading. So if you want to go out and explore your community, you can start earning Nature Exchange points now to trade in for real nature items when the Chattahoochee Nature Center reopens. If you guys come out to the Nature Center, please ask for Jana. I would love to meet you. Have a great weekend.